there is one candidate to beat in the coming presidential election, he will be the flag bearer of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The former Lagos State governor has dominated the headlines since he embarked on his campaign around the country. Just like his counterpart in the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, Tinubu has equally talk about what he hopes to achieve if he is elected, which includes building a Nigeria with sufficient jobs and better wages, making basic healthcare, education and affordable housing for all, amongst other things. However, one of the major concerns Nigerians have constantly talked about is his well-being. Joining us on the show this morning to discuss Bola Ahmed Tinubu's chances at the coming election and how he intends to achieve his various promises for Nigeria is Festus Keyamo, spokesperson for the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me this morning, and so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Now let's just start off with what I just talked about with regards to the health status of your candidate before we go on to other issues, because this is a big issue for many Nigerians. Many Nigerians have questioned his fitness for the position of the #1 CEO, if I could put it that way, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They talked about mental and physical agility, which is in question with regards to your candidate.
Well, no matter how much they repeat it, the opposition and the section of the press, no matter how much they parrot it, the fact remains that there is no evidence to the contrary that my candidate has some kind of health issues. I said it on this program before, that the strategy has been to repeat a lie 1,000 times until that lie sticks out as the truth. But as I speak with you, in the last few weeks, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been more active on the campaign trail than any other candidate. He has been going around day to day, hour to hour, from place to place, having several meetings. And after all of the rallies, he continues consultations till the wee hours of the morning. So how else can one prove his fitness other than that? So like I said, now, bam, this program opens. The first thing you ask is about health. It's just a strategy of the opposition to continue to stick this and repeat it 1,000 times. But let me tell you this, ordinary Nigerians watching their television screens, reading about his itinerary, they have made up their minds. I can tell you that. No matter how much you continue to repeat it, there is no problem at all with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
So there are people who are watching, and some of the things they've seen on the campaign grounds in terms of what your candidate has done, some have shared, and these are a video that is being shared, and you wonder that are there issues that Nigerians should know about? The question has always been, Nigerian presidential candidates or any candidate whatsoever, they don't disclose the state of their health. Is there anything whatsoever that Nigerians should know regarding his health? It may not jeopardize his candidacy. It may not affect him being able to run Nigeria as the president. But are there things that Nigerians should know?
Well, you said you started the question by mentioning certain things have happened on the campaign trail to my candidate. I have not seen anything happen that has not happened to any other candidate. I repeat and I qualify it. I have not seen anything happen to my candidate that has not happened to any other candidate. Slip of tongue here and there. It has happened to Atiku, it has happened to Obi, it has happened to his running mate. It has happened to the spokespersons. The PDP spokespersons and their candidates have asked Nigerians to vote for APC, even far more than the APC people have asked Nigerians to vote for APC. They are always campaigning for APC in slip of tongues. So what has happened to my candidate? Has he fainted? Has he collapsed? Has he missed his steps climbing, stairways? What has happened to him? Nothing has happened to him. So when you talk about health status, there must be a basis by which somebody will now say, okay, I need to disclose my health status. There must be a basis
Well,
but there's no basis. Absolutely no basis.
Mr. Keyamo.
If there's a basis for it, then perhaps we will call for it.
Well, Mr. Keyamo.
For me, really, you know, to spend the hold on. For me, really, to spend the first 5 minutes of this program talking about health issue that does not exist is actually absolute waste of time, because I want to go to more, you know, more serious issues.
We will move to issues, but you must admit that the health status of a candidate who is vying for the #1 position in Nigeria is important. When you go to even the private sector and you want to take on an important job, you'll be asked to go for medicals, in sports, in different sectors. So I don't think it's remiss for Nigerians to ask for the status of their presidential candidate, bearing in mind that the current president, who is under your party, has also been out of the country for a considerable number of days in his time, you know, in office. So it's important for Nigerians to know how fit the presidential candidate is. And so I'll just ask one more time before we move on to the next thing, just to check where you say that it is baseless. In Mina, he was rushed off stage. There's some reasons given. There are videos of your presidential candidate going off his train of thought while speaking. As Mr. Kaide mentioned, it's not about the fact that it is the honesty and declaring and being honest with the electorate of Nigerians who want to vote for a credible leader come February 25. And so it's not, I mean, just to respond to that, there are a number of videos way beyond the slips of tongue you've mentioned of the other presidential candidates that your candidate has made in recent times. Too many to mention. Now you are making a statement. You're not asking a question. It is wrong. That is what I call the tyranny of the microphone. You just sit behind the microphone every day in the morning and you make profound statements and you don't know the weight of the statement you are making. For example, you say my candidate was rushed off stage in Mina. That is not true. That is absolute false. How can you say there? How can you stay there and make such a statement? And it is not true. Show the clips to Nigerians. You are a television station. Show the clips. It's on record.
There was nothing like that. After the Mina event, no, don't argue. If you want to argue with me, then come and be a co-debater. You can't sit down there as a journalist, ask questions, I will answer you. You made a statement now to millions of Nigerians this morning saying my candidate was rushed off stage. How can you say that? After the event in Mina that day, he went on to commission different projects in Mina on that same day. Show me the clip where he collapsed, where they held him, where they took him. How can you, a television station, make such a statement? It is very, very unfortunate, and I'm saying it's wrong.
All right.
And I would demand an apology for that, because there was no such incident that happened. You talk about slip of tongue and gaps and all of that, train of thought. Atiku just said in Katsina, what's it called, in Kogi, 2 days ago. He said that they should vote for the APC.
Okay.
Peter Obi went to Nasarawa, he was calling Nasarawa a country. No, hold on, let me finish. You said something. He went to Nasarawa, he was calling Nasarawa a country. Peter Obi? And so many other things like this. So, in terms of the tiredness of the campaign trail, whether it's your young candidates or old candidates, when you stomp from place to place every day, once in a while, you will make these little gaps here and there, little slip of tongue. It happens even in the most civilized world. So please, I want to let you know that I will not even go back to that issue again, because we are restricting the issue of health in order to stick it to Nigerians and, you know, make a lie be the truth. I will not answer questions on that again. It is not true. It is just not true.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's move on to other issues now. Let's look at the campaign as it is going. We had Senator Dr. Bukola Saraki earlier today, and I will ask you the same question. What is the path to success in this forthcoming election for the APC? And here is what the pundits and the political analysts are saying. Some have said clearly that you are not likely to find a situation in Nigeria where two candidates, presidential candidates, have come from the south and any of them has won. You can debate that from now till eternity. And also that Ashwaju may not be able to get the southeast, may not be guaranteed to get the south-south because of the vice presidential candidate, and then may not be able to get the northeast and will struggle in the northwest. So he leaves maybe the southwest and the north central. What is your own permutations that will help us understand your path to success for this forthcoming election?
Thank you very much. Just give me time to answer this, and let me let you know that there is no way, there's no path to get the numbers for the other candidate. It's only Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that has a clear path to victory. Let me make a profound statement before I begin to go down to the analysis. The profound statement I want to make is that in a democracy like ours, where you don't have a united opposition against a strong ruling party with big numbers of governors and legislators and structures, if you don't have a united opposition against the ruling party, you stand no chance at all. And that is the situation we find ourselves now, with a scattered opposition with Labour Party, PDP, and the NNPP. There's absolutely no chance for any of them to gather the numbers to beat the ruling party. Let me go to the analysis, for you. I listened a bit to Bukola Saraki before I left home, and I couldn't finish the interview. But I heard a few of his permutations. You kept asking him, what is the pathway? And he could not answer you. He could not come down to the nitty-gritties. He was saying, we will do well in the North, we will do well there, we'll do well here, and there and there. But then, I will come down to the numbers for you. Nigeria is not dropping from the sky today. There was a 2019 election. And so the right way to begin to look at 2023 is to look at the 2019 election and begin to say what has changed between 2019 and now. In 2019, despite the fact that Atiku Abubakar is from the Northeast, I want you to listen to this. Despite the fact that Atiku Abubakar is from the Northeast, and there was no candidate, either presidential or vice presidential candidate from the Northeast to drag that place with him, to argue, to go head to head with him. There was no candidate from there. Yet, he lost 4 of the 6 Northeast states, Atiku Abubakar. That is how much the Northeast does, the people of the Northeast don't reckon with him. There was no candidate, take note. No rival candidate from that zone at that time. Now we have the vice presidential candidate, Shettima, from the Northeast to give him that problem. Now, even the Shettima, who is from Borno State, from the Northeast, who was not on the ballot in 2019, despite that, guess what? And this will surprise you. Atiku could not even get 10% of the votes, not 25, 10% of the votes in Borno State in 2019. In Yobe State, he could not get 10% of the vote, not 25, not 15. He could not get, that is his zone. He could not get 10. How can somebody perform so poorly in his zone? So out of 6 states of the Northeast in 2019, Atiku won only 2, which is Adamawa and Taraba. And even in those 2, Kayode, Anayo, we went head to head with him. In Adamawa, it was head to head, 48 to 52 or thereabout, and the same thing with Taraba. We went head to head with him, even in those 2 states that he won in the Northeast. Now, come to the Northwest. Now, I want to let you know, Bukola Saraki said, well, that they are traditional PDP states. He talked about rivers, he talked about South, and and all that. So for them, it is easy for them to say traditional states belonging to certain parties, they do not change overnight. But in our own case, they expect it to change overnight. What kind of argument is that? So for them, fortune will smile on them. For us, fortune will not smile on us because they have traditional states. But in our own traditional states, there will be a flip overnight. What kind of logic is that? So we must go by his own logic where you say you have traditional states that are always loyal to a party. For instance, in Yobe and Borno states, PDP has never won those states. I think it's only Borno they did 4 years or so. But it has always been traditional anti-PDP states. That's why they don't get 10% at all in those states. So demography is not going to change in 4 years. Even if there are going to be improvement, like he said, that even they are going to have challenges in some states, it's going to be marginal. So even if we have marginal challenges in those states, if there's some movement at all, do you expect the movement to be from 10% or less than 10% that Atiku had in 2019? Do you expect that movement to move from 8% to 70% overnight? It's not going to happen because the same people that are there. So that's from the Northeast. From the Northwest, Atiku did not win 1 state in the Northwest. 1, he did not win. Now, what has changed in the Northwest between 2019 and 20 now? Nothing has changed for us. But what has changed for the PDP, in terms of the big factor in the Northwest, Kwankwanso has left. Kwankwaso was part of that component of the PDP in 2019 in the Northwest. So for them, they have despite the fact that they did not win one state, despite the fact that we beat them with big numbers in Katsina, nearly 1 million votes, in Kano, nearly 1 million votes. So look at the numbers by which we beat them in 2019. I want you to look at those numbers in the Northwest. They were big numbers. It was only, we get them about 1 million votes in Katsina, 1 million votes in Kano, about that. There are about 400,000 votes in Kebbi, in Kaduna, you know, in Zamfara, about 400,000, about 300,000 plus, and some change. And Sokoto, of course, you know, Sokoto has been marginal, but it was still big numbers.
Okay.
So in the Northwest, we beat them hands down.
Permit me to just very quickly, please permit me, Festus, to just very quickly interject. Okay. Now, the candidates on the ballot in those elections you're referring to happen to be the then President Muhammadu Buhari, who is from that region, who has been declared a phenomenon over the last 20 years, contesting at various elections and winning 10 to 12 million, even when he did not manage to win generally across the entire country. So if you have an article contesting against somebody who is phenomenal in the north, central, south, northwest, northeast, north central, if you have someone like that, then you will expect that kind of number. But let's look at today. The candidate is not Buhari anymore. So that will create a possible shift, according to pundits, not my words. According to pundits and political analysts, that will create a change. So let me ask you a rhetoric question, two rhetoric questions. Where is that candidate, that phenomenal candidate you talked about? Where does he stand today, and who is he campaigning for? That's a rhetorical question. So you mean, for instance, that you call him a phenomenal candidate with following, all kinds of diehard following. So those diehard followers now will listen to him now, raising the hand of Asiwaju and telling them that this is my man. If you want to make me happy in retirement, vote for him. You think 70% of those diehard followers will not listen to him if you call him phenomenal? So that's why I said that I made the point that even if there's a shift, will it be a shift from 10% to 80%? It can't be. It's going to be a marginal shift. But and I thought they said that we rigged the 2019 election. So all of a sudden, hold on. You see, you're not allowing me to flow. I need to flow with this analysis. Flow with your analysis, but I just wanted to very quickly.
Bukola Saraki could not give you, hold on. Bukola Saraki could not give you this breakdown. I am giving you this breakdown. I'm giving you, and none of them can come here and give you this breakdown. The only thing they rely upon is what you have just said. Oh, betrayal. There's going to be betrayal. The North is not a monolithic North. That is why they did not vote for Atiku Abubakar. That's why they have never voted for him. It's not monolithic because they have their brain. They know who to vote for. They know the issues at stake. And so they know where to stand. The North is APC. They said they have the Southeast or South-South as PDP. And so they said those are traditional PDP zones. So you have a traditional zone. We don't have a traditional zone. The North is APC. It's as simple as that. So I was talking about the Northwest. The Northwest you are talking today. We have an added factor called a Buhari. They have a minus factor called a Kwankwaso that left them. So the figures you are talking about in Northwest, I was talking about even the second rhetoric question. Now, those structures that delivered Buhari in 2019, there were structures. There were people at the grassroots level, governors, legislators, the people they call the Buharists, and the people, the Buhari support organization that have been there since 2003. They are still with Asiwaju. There's no break in our ranks. There's no 5 governors revolting. There's nothing like that. So if you are going to have a marginal shift in the Northwest, you are not going to have a thunderous marginal shift. You are not going to have an Armageddon. No, you're not going to have it. It's going to be a shift maybe from 10 to 20%, and you are still going to have the numbers there for us. So that is for the Northwest and Northeast. There is no path to victory for Atiku for Northwest and Northeast. In the North Central, we lost only 2 states in 2019. I have these figures at my finger. I was the returning officer to Mr. President in 2019 at the International Conference Center. We lost only Benue and we lost Plateau in the North Central. Well, if you want to add Abuja as North Central, then we lost Abuja too. But we won Kogi, we won Niger convincingly, we won Kwara convincingly in the North Central in 2019, and we won Nasarawa marginally. Because we had always not lost Nasarawa before 2019. 2015 we lost Nasarawa, but we gained in 2019, we won Nasarawa in 2019. So we have 4 states in this North Central. Now in the North Central, is there going to be a very, is there a factor that has crept into the North Central? Yes, Peter Obi has crept into the North Central. So I want to be honest in this analysis. Peter Obi has crept into the North Central, not as much as the Northeast, but he has made small inroads, not inroads to make a big impact. But even the inroad he has made into the North Central, it is the PDP votes is eating into in the North Central, even the North Central that they lost. Why? Because they are traditional, Christian votes. He has appealed to those sentiments because the type of campaign he has been campaigning. So it's even those votes in the North Central that appeal more to PDP that he has eaten into in the North Central. So in the North Central, we expect to keep our traditional states in the North Central. If we even lose a state, maybe 3 states to 3, but we want 4 the other time. But you don't expect us to lose more than, far more than, we did in 2019. So even if we take it 3-3, the North Central, the other 3 states remain in North Central are not going to go to PDP. They are going to be divided between PDP and Labour Party. The other 3 in the North Central. That puts us in poor position. And then, of course, the Southwest. Everybody has considered, I don't need to analyze the Southwest because Bukola Saraki came here, he considered the Southwest. People like Ayo Fayose, they have all considered the Southwest. People like even traditional people like Bode George and the traditional PDP people, they consider the Southwest. They say they don't know how they will get into the Southwest. That is because even without our candidate being on the ballot, we lost only 2 states by some problems in those states in the Southwest in 2019. We lost Ondo, we lost Oyo marginally in the Southwest in 2019. Now, South, and Southeast have not been our states before. We had challenges. But don't forget that even though we had challenges in the South, and Southeast, between 2015 and 2019, go and look at the results. We made huge progress. We did not win, but we made huge progress. We lost the 25% votes that we did not get in 3 states were from those regions in 2019. And that is Anambra, Enugu, and Rivers State that we did not get. Now, what is even happening to those states now that we did not get 25% in 2019? What's happening? In Rivers State, you see the rebellion there. Going there for PDP. In Enugu State, you see the rebellion going for PDP there. All right. But those are part of the G5 government.
Mr. Keyamo, so
we have the APC is in poor position.
Yes.
APC is in poor position.
Mr. Keyamo, we have to interrupt because
the 2020 election. There's no contest.
We have a limited time with you and want you to just speak to a few things before you go. In fact, I think this might be the second to the last question. And this is, when you were here the last time, we had asked you a question around the president being on the campaign trail with your presidential candidate. And good news, he's now going, he's been to Adamawa State as his first stop and then gone to Yobe State. Now, it's a statement he made in Yobe State I'd like you to respond to. He had mentioned that your presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will build on his legacies for rebuilding Nigeria. And this brought to mind questions for a number of Nigerians as to which of his legacies would Asiwaju be building on. We reviewed the economy. It has been said, and days after, Asiwaju had said that the economy was in a dire state. Well, the next president will potentially be inheriting a 77 trillion naira debt. We have a double inflation at the moment, the highest since 1999. We look at the security architecture of the country, nothing to write home about. So the big question is, what legacies or what was the president referring to that Asiwaju would build on?
Well, first of all, to correct you, as journalists, you do your research very well before you come on air. This is not the highest inflation rate. In 2005, under Obasanjo Atiku, we had a 28% inflation rate in 2005. Go and fact check me. So that is not the highest. Under Obasanjo and Atiku, we had the highest ever so far in 1999. But let me come straight to your question. Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, we build on a legacy of infrastructural development. That is what, you can see what we have done in 7.5 years. It has eclipsed and surpassed what they did in 16 years of PDP. And let me tell you, that Obasanjo-Atiku regime you are talking about, it has collapsed now with all the boasts they were boasting about that tenure. That tenure is now known as the SPV years. With the revelations coming out, with the putrid and smelly revelations coming out now about the criminal enterprise that Obasanjo and Atiku ran at that time, where they were using shell companies to dupe Nigerians and pilfer money from the public coffers. No matter how the press plays the ostrich on this matter, because I've not spoken since, I now want to speak. No matter how the press plays the ostrich on this matter, it is not going to die, because today I have decided to take up that matter, where you have evidence of emails, voice notes, documents where a vice president and president opened companies between 2019 and 2007. One was called, what was it called? One company like that, where they were using the companies to take monies out of the treasury to fund the PDP and fund their private businesses and their families. I have this morning written to 3 law enforcement agencies, and I'm asking for full investigation. If they don't, I am going to court. Even as a sitting cabinet member, I am going to court. This morning, I have written to them, and I'm going to make it public later today, that you cannot have a vice president who abused his office when he was in office, who opened shell companies by his own admission, put his cronies and allies there, and the press, they are playing. There's a conspiratorial silence on this matter. Nobody is talking about it, and they want it to go away, and he's not apologizing to Nigerian people and withdrawing from the race, and that is what you want to campaign with, and you want to use that tenure to compare the tenure of President Buhari. It's over. It's over.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time.
He cannot survive this. It's over for him.
We will speak about this in subsequent meetings, because you didn't actually respond to the
when it's Asiwaju's drug issue, the press feasted on it. When it's Asiwaju's drug issue, the press feasted on it, and we are there to defend it. Now we are calling on the press to be non-partisan to talk about this issue. It's about the national treasury. It's about the national treasury, and we're not going to allow it to die.
Well, Arise News will definitely make its investigation, and we will not be depending on what one individual who is a party member is saying. We'll do our investigation.
There are court documents. There are court documents.
Thank you, Mr. Keyamo.
Publish the court documents.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keyamo, for your time. Mr. Festus Keyamo, spokesperson for the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Thank you for your time.